Here we go, folks. When I first saw this photo of Jensen as Soldier Boy last year, I saw the shield and I was like, I need to make that. How am I going to make that? I need to present it to him for my photo op. I need to do this. So, I just had this one picture, which was only a third of the shield. And you can see there's not a lot of detail, especially about the size and where everything goes, because it's curved. The curve is, you can't tell the size of the curve. And then we have the artwork by concept artist Greg Hopwood, which shows the other side, which gives you the full idea of the shield, but I wasn't sure exactly how detailed the physical build was compared to the artwork until we got this shot from Jensen that he posted on his Instagram, which gives the detail of the damage and all of the lines, and you can see that there's 3 layers that they used to build it. And then we have this shot that he posted later of him in action, and it's really blurry, but it gave me an idea of the actual width of it. And you can see that there's a bow. It's more than just curved side to side, it curves around. So after 8 hours, I had a template, which I was able to print out, trace onto poster board, and then cut out from the poster board and trace onto 3 different layers of foam. I had video of me cutting, but something happened to that and it's gone. Anyway, it's kind of boring. So I cut it all out, and then using a technique I saw on YouTube to curve it, I heated it up and put it on my exercise ball with saran wrap, which did actually work, but it wasn't super. And then I put a leather strap, which is actually a Latigo tie strap for a Western saddle cinch. So I put all the layers together, used the wrong glue, tore it all apart, used the wrong glue again, so it wasn't flexible. So you can see it was all popping apart. So I had to take it apart. I used super glue for that. This one. I had to cut it apart, and then I finally found the right person to follow on YouTube for foam building and cosplay. Kamui Cosplay. I'll put a link in the description so you can go and see how to do it the right way. I learned from her what glues you need to use when and how to make things that are flexible. And I also learned from her that you need to sand all the edges down before you glue it together. So I sanded all the edges down of all the pieces to make the cuts look good, and then I had to sand off the super glue and the other white glue that I tried using just so I had a good fresh surface. And then I had to curve the bottom layer first. And I used a heat gun and some tape to help hold the shape, because you can see it's not really that curved. I mean, it did curve, but it's still warm at this point, and I taped it up so it would hold its curve better, and I let it cool overnight so it retained that shape a little bit longer. And here we have, it has a really nice curve to it, and I'm going to use the rubber cement, which is what I should have used in the first place, contact cement. And you have to do both sides, and you have to let it dry, and you have to make a complete coverage of it, which I didn't quite get the edges in some places, so it does kind of peel apart. That's something else I learned. You have to really get all the edges on all of the surfaces. Putting it back together, was tricky because I had to realign it. Now that it was curved, it didn't line up very well, and I left the star and the eagle head on there because they were still on there pretty well from the super glue, and it was a smaller piece and they weren't going to come off. And I didn't want to try picking it off and then risk having it be damaged. So then I had to put once I got the second layer on, then I had to re-glue to put the top layer on. And you can see the edges do not line up now. So then I had to go in and cut the edges so that they were relatively straight and even. And you can still see that they're there, but it's a lot better than that. Particularly down at the bottom, they really didn't line up at all anymore. And then I got out the Dremel, which I'm not great at. I got a lot better. And you had to do all the edges over again so that they looked the same. And then we have the stone tip, which is actually a cutting tool. I was trying to use it as a sanding tool, which didn't work very well, and I kind of messed things up. But then I realized I could use that for the detail work, all of the lines. Like here we're putting in the eagle's eye, which it worked a lot better for really small areas. And then when I go to do the big areas, it very easily wobbled. And then the line was all crooked, and then you couldn't actually fix it because it would follow the wobbly line. You had to be very, very precise in how you're moving it. And something I probably should have practiced more before I went in and just did it, but here we are. There are a lot of lines. Everything had an outline on it. Each rib had an outline on the base layer and on the top layer. All of the feathers, there was an outline all the way around the star. And then here I am with a smaller sanding bit trying to clean up the mess I made with the cutting tool. I did an okay job. At this point I'd been dremeling for like 2 or 3 hours, so I was getting a lot better. So then I tried to fix my things with my LinoCut carving tool. I tried to go in and smooth out some of the wiggly lines, which kind of helped. Made me feel better for trying to do something. And then I have my clay loop, and I used that to make the feathers. Here they're on the eagle's neck. And then we do up on the... Let me see, I keep checking my phone to see exactly how I'm supposed to be doing it. Unfortunately, it didn't really cut deep enough so that it really was able, when I heat sealed it, it kind of popped back up a bit. And I had to go in with my X-Acto knife and try and carve out these pieces on the wing here. And here I am putting in battle damage, which was pretty cool because then I was able to go into the places where I messed up when I was sanding and when I did the carving, and I could make it look intentional and kind of cover that up a bit. Especially right there. I really messed that up, so I was like, I'll just carve that right out. And then here I got the Cosplay Flex thermoplastic, which I needed to heat up first so I could come out of the roll so that it was flexible enough that I could cut it into shape. So I got it flat, And now it's warm at this point. And I had to make holes for the leather thongs for the strap. And then cut it sort of to shape. And I had to do this quickly so it didn't cool out. So it was cooling off and hardening up very quickly. So that's why it's kind of a random trapezoid. And not to my exact standards that I would have wanted. And then to get it to fully mold, you have to get it up to 400 degrees. And you can see it gets really flexible and almost, in some places, it almost started to melt if I got it too hot. So I had to put the leather through and try to smooth out all the bubbles because it got all bubbly and because parts of it got too hot and it thinned out and it was not easy to work with. And then I've got it trying to make it cool off in the curve that I want, expecting it to relax a bit, and it really didn't. It's a little bit too curved, but whatever, it stayed the way I wanted it to stay. And I'm back with the contact cement to keep it on there once it's cooled off and hardened back up again. And then I've got this foam clay. It works just like regular clay. You get it wet, and then you can smooth it on, and then it dries, and it's just like the foam. And then you can sand it. I tried to fix some of my mistakes. It didn't really work particularly well. And then I heat sealed it and got it ready for priming, which you can see in the next video, part 2, finishing our shield. This will be a 3-part series. First part is the shield build, second part is finishing the shield, and then the third part is presenting it to Jensen himself and his reaction to it, which is my main point in making it, and it's very exciting. So keep watching and we'll see you next time.